Hi BookTube and happy Saturday. As it's a really nice day out and I don't have to go to work, I thought I would do a daily vlog and just share with you what I'm reading and cooking and just what I'm getting up to. And so on the docket today, I'm planning on finishing Fear Street R.L. Stine's The Sleepwalker and getting a good chunk of the way through James A. Michener's Recessional. Yeah, let's see how the day goes. Good morning. I thought I would share my Saturday breakfast treat. I have some homemade oat wheat bread that I have slathered in chocolate chips and some salted butter with a little bit of sea salt. And then I have my tea. This is the cream of Earl Grey black tea from David's Tea. This is left over from the advent calendar that I had. And then why not show you my dirty dishes, because Sawyer is decided he's gonna drink from the faucet. I finished breakfast, so now I'm going to be resuming The Sleepwalker by R.L. Stine. I am on chapter 10, page 62. I have my Halloween bookmark I found at a little free library. I thought it was fitting, of course, for the horror mayhem. And I'm enjoying this so far. It seems to me that the main character here, and I can never remember people's names. Let's see, what is her name? Myra. It's hard to read through the camera. Myra is the main character here, and she is taking a summer job, taking care or like helping out Mrs. Cotler, who has a spooky house on Fear Street, and she thinks nothing of it. She's getting good pay, but things start happening. Well, the first thing that when they introduce the character, Miss Cotler, she has a very young face for like an old body. Like, I don't know how she does it. What lotion does she use? Like, what face cream does she use? And she has like raven black hair and has a black cat. And then she finds there's a bunch of black candles in a dresser drawer. So she's like thinking, oh, she's immediately connecting that she's a witch. but we will see, because also she starts sleepwalking. She's never sleepwalked before, but now she's waking up a good ways from her house on Fear Street. So we'll see what happens. Well, since I shared what I was eating for breakfast, why not show my lunch? I'm having ramen noodles. I make my own broth using vegetable broth and soy sauce and a couple other seasonings, along with ginger and garlic. And then I add some frozen vegetables and some chopped up tofu. And then at the end, I add half of a slice of American cheese, just for like a salty, almost not creamy texture, but just adds a little something to the broth. Is this turning into a food vlog? Maybe. On the weekends, I typically do some kind of baking. So I thought about doing banana bread, because I have bananas that need to be used up. But instead, I'm going to be doing a banana bread coffee cake with like that streusel crunchy topping. So I'm going to show you the ingredients and then maybe show some steps before the finished product. Not sure yet. So I have old-fashioned oats for the streusel topping. I have flour, sugar, sea salt, baking soda, baking powder, butter. This includes butter and oil. One of these is going to be brown butter, browned for the cake, and then the other one's going to be for the streusel topping. And then the cake part has oil and butter for like the flavor, but then like the moist texture. Cinnamon, vanilla, and almond extract. I like how it has the combo. I'm a fan of both. Then I have molasses, because I never keep on hand brown sugar anymore. I just make my own. So I take the white sugar, and then I add, for light brown sugar, I do 1 tablespoon per cup. And then for dark brown sugar, I just do two tablespoons. And then I'm using ground flax seeds, and I have like with the water mixture, because I don't always use eggs. I almost never use eggs, especially with baking. So it's for 1 egg, it's 1 tablespoon ground flaxseed and 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of water, and you let it sit for 5 minutes or so, and then it thickens up, and it's a thickener for like eggs would be in baking. So this is like for two eggs. So I know it doesn't look as appetizing, but it does work. The original, before you add the water, it's like a grainy, like sandy kind of texture. And then of course I have my bananas. So we'll see how this turns out. Streusel topping is now done. I added all the dry ingredients and mixed them together, and then I just rubbed him. Sawyer sneezing. He is getting into everything. I have my pantry door open and he is exploring. Maybe he's saying I need to sweep the floor. Anyway, yes, so then I rubbed in the butter into all the dry ingredients with the oats and the flour and sugars, and then it makes like a kind of like a paste. And so I'm going to put this in the refrigerator to stay cool while I make the cake. So before I move to the next step, I wanted to show what brown butter looks like, just in case anyone's never made it before. So you melt the butter in a pot over like medium-low heat or so. And once it melts and finishes sizzling and it goes quiet, that's when the magic happens of like these little brown pieces that you kind of scrape from the bottom of the pan. And it has this wonderful smell to it, and it works perfectly with like things like cinnamon and vanilla and cardamom, things like that, and brown sugar. So I wish, I feel like same as like the cooking shows, I wish there was like a smello version so you could smell how nice this it doesn't look the best, but it smells really good. Okay, so I didn't show the rest of how to make the cake batter, but the smells of the banana, brown sugar, cinnamon, and brown butter is like phenomenal. So, and the banana is supposed to be kind of chunky. I don't like too much of a chunky, any kind of fruit thing in cakes, so I didn't like little pebble size, I guess, but mostly just mashed. And then I have the streusel, so like I can just at least show you some of the pre-finished product. The streusel has now been added, and oh my goodness, this is going to be a rich cake. I don't know how good the camera is showing it, but it's like, I feel like a good inch thick layer of streusel. But I'm sure it's going to taste delicious. So now it's going to go in the oven, 350 degrees for around 40 to 45 minutes. I was getting ready to eat it, and I was like, wait a second. I needed to show you the finished product. So it's like a dark brown sugary kind of cake with the crumbly topping, and I'm sure it's going to taste delicious. It's now around 5 o'clock, and before I go make dinner, I wanted to give a reading update. So I have finished The Sleepwalker. As I mentioned in I feel like my first clip of this, it starts out with what is her name again? Myra, and she starts sleepwalking all of a sudden and is ending up at the Fear Lake, and she's never sleptwalked before and doesn't know what's going on, but she has started a new job with this kind of spooky woman that she thinks that's a witch, and then the story progresses to where I don't know, I can't give any I don't want to give any spoilers away in case anyone wants to read this, but there is a twist. I feel like, with typically any like horror or mystery, there's always a twist, and not everything is as it appears. And I liked it well enough. I've liked other Fear Street books more, but I did like the atmosphere of this, and I feel like it's a perfect like summer kind of book. And speaking of summer, I have since started James A. Missioner Recessional, and I haven't read the description for this book, so I don't know exactly what I was getting into. I've heard of, like I said, I've heard of James A. Missioner in the past. His like big chunky like location-based books where he's giving you like the entire history, like historical fiction kind of way. But this one is much more of a novel where there's where it's set in modern day, and it's following Dr. Zorn, who was kind of like a funny last name. He is an ex-doctor. He has had 2 lawsuits against him and has lost his license, and he's gone through a very rough divorce, but he's set up to kind of be a likable character. I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know. Again, I haven't read the description, the dust jacket. But he has gotten a new job where he is going to be leading a retirement home, where it's a retirement home for people who are like abled. they can walk around and they don't need any assistance. They're just older people who have since retired and just want to be around people of the same age group. And then there is the people who need the assisted living, where there's caretakers involved in a way, but they're not like so much hand holding as there's people present if needed. And then there's a third level at this retirement home where it's like the true nursing home leading into hospice. So although he's a doctor at this retirement home where there's doctors and nurses involved, he himself isn't practicing medicine. But I feel like there's something going, I feel like he's going to get involved to some extent, because on his way, this is in Florida and he's in Chicago. On his way down, there is, and again, I have no idea how much I'm spoiling this. I've only gotten 30 pages in, so I don't feel like I'm giving any of these spoilers away. But on his way, on his drive down, there is a massive car pileup on an icy road in Tennessee. Where, one of those situations where it's like, I don't know, 10, 20 plus cars all piling up, all sliding into this one area. And he saves a woman's life, but the hospital, the doctor in the emergency room says, "Oh, don't be a hero. You don't want to get your name spread about, because even though this woman's alive, she could easily criticize you for doing this, not doing this, that, and the other, and causing her problems 5-10 years down the road. So you need to get out of here and just go on about your day. I don't want to know your name. I don't want to know where you live or anything like that." So it's just very odd, these like malpractices that he had going on at the big, before the book started, where he lost his license, but he's like, "Oh, I was falsely accused, and it was just them, the lawyer and the plaintiffs wanting money, and so I'm wrongly accused. I didn't do anything wrong." So I just feel like there's something going on here. but we will see. We'll see how much progress I make in this. I think it's like almost 500 pages or so. So I want to read at least another 100 pages this afternoon. But now I'm gonna go make some dinner. I'm not probably gonna show you all of that, but I'm just gonna make some simple like burrito bowls where it's like the rice and vegetables and all the different layers of things with some salsa and guacamole. That sounds good. I had some leftovers from making nachos earlier this week, and so I was like, why not take these little fixings and do some rice bowls with them. But yeah, I will talk to you in a bit.